The town of Willow Creek, population 417, had exactly one high school, one stoplight, and one story everyone thought they already knew. Anna Collins was the quiet farm girl who wore the same faded flannel 3 days a week, kept her light brown hair in 2 thin braids, and spoke so softly that teachers sometimes asked her to repeat herself. She walked the halls in mud-stained boots, smelled faintly of hay and honest work, and never once raised her hand in class. To the students of Willow Creek High, she was background noise, someone to mock when they were bored, someone to shove when they needed to feel tall. They didn't know she had once crawled through a sandstorm in 130-degree heat with a wounded Marine on her back. They didn't know she had disarmed a man twice her size in a dark alley outside Kandahar. They didn't know she had graduated from one of the most punishing training programs on Earth, Bud, with the Navy SEALs, because the teams had started letting women try. And Anna Collins never backed down from impossible things. All they knew was that she lived in the gray, unpainted farmhouse at the end of County Road 9, that her little brother Jacob was an easy target, and that neither of them ever fought back, so they kept pushing. Every morning the ancient blue pickup rattled into the parking lot, coughing exhaust. Anna helped Jacob out of the passenger side, slung both their backpacks over one shoulder, and walked him to the middle school doors before heading to the high school. Kids jeered from car windows. "Hey, farm girl, did the pigs miss you?" "Tell your cows I said move out of the way." Anna never answered. She had learned long ago that silence was a kind of armor. Words could be bullets, silence simply let them pass through. But Jacob was 12, all elbows and big worried eyes. Every insult stuck to him like burrs. He tried to hide the tears until they were safely inside the truck at the end of the day, but Anna always saw. The worst days were the ones when Ethan Caldwell decided to perform. Ethan was the football captain, 6'2", square-jawed, and convinced the world had been built for him alone. He and his friends Liam and Josh treated the school like their personal kingdom. And in that kingdom, Jacob was the court jester and Anna the peasant they enjoyed tormenting. One October afternoon, Ethan cornered them at lunch. Jacob sat hunched over his peanut butter sandwich, trying to make himself smaller. Anna sat beside him, straight-backed, scanning the cafeteria the way she once scanned rooftops for threats. Ethan loomed over the table. "Yo, farm boy. Heard you've got a new girlfriend. Did Bessie give you a kiss this morning?" The table of football players roared. Jacob's lip trembled. Anna set her fork down gently. "Leave him alone, Ethan." The laughter quieted, surprised she had spoken at all. Ethan leaned in, grinning. "What are you going to do about it, mud boots?" She met his eyes, steady, unblinking, the same stare that once made hardened insurgents drop their rifles, and said nothing. Something flickered across Ethan's face, a shadow of doubt, gone in an instant. "Let's see what the little pig farmer brought for show and tell. Give it back," Anna said. Her voice was soft, almost kind, but it carried a weight that made the air feel suddenly thinner. Ethan hesitated half a second too long for his pride. He laughed too loudly and pretended he hadn't. Just then a teacher rounded the corner. Ethan dropped the bag and sauntered off, muttering threats about later. Later came after the final bell. Anna and Jacob took their usual shortcut behind the gym toward the farm road that led home. Jacob kept looking over his shoulder. "Anna, I think they're following us." She had already heard the footsteps. 3 silhouettes stepped out from behind the equipment shed. Ethan, Liam, and Josh smirking, cracking knuckles, high on their own power. "No teachers to save you now," Ethan said. Jacob moved closer to his sister. His voice cracked. "Anna." She placed herself between her brother and the boys, one arm out like a shield. "Go home, Ethan." Ethan laughed. "Or what? Are you going to throw a bale of hay at me?" He stepped forward and shoved her hard in the chest. Anna didn't budge. She absorbed the force the way she had once absorbed flashbangs and concussion grenades, feet rooted, center of gravity low. Ethan blinked, unsettled. Then Liam grabbed Jacob's shoulder and yanked him forward. Jacob cried out, a small wounded sound that tore straight through Anna's heart. Everything slowed. She heard desert wind in her ears. She saw muzzle flashes. She felt the weight of her fallen teammates and the oath she had sworn. Never again. Never again would someone she loved be hurt while she could stop it. The quiet farm girl disappeared. In her place stood Petty Officer Second-Class Collins, Naval Special Warfare, who had survived Hell Week on 4 hours of sleep in 7 days, who had carried 890-pound men through chest-deep swamp water, while instructors screamed in her face, and who had learned that violence was a language. Terrible, but sometimes the only one certain people understood. She moved so fast the boys never saw it coming. Ethan swung first, a wild haymaker fueled by 17 years of never being told no. Anna slipped inside the arc, trapped his arm, and used his own momentum to drive him face first into the chain-link fence. The metal rattled like a gong. Liam lunged. She pivoted, caught his wrist, and twisted a textbook joint lock, and he dropped to his knees with a shocked yelp. Josh, suddenly less brave, tried to tackle her around the waist. She dropped her hips, threaded an arm under his, and flipped him over her shoulder. He landed flat on his back, air whooshing from his lungs like a popped balloon. It was over in 6 seconds. 3 football players groaned on the ground. Jacob stood frozen, mouth open. Anna's braids had come half unraveled. Her flannel was torn at the elbow. She was breathing hard, not from exertion, but from the effort of pulling every strike, of making sure nothing was broken, no concussions, no permanent damage. She knelt beside Ethan, who clutched his bleeding nose, eyes wide with terror he didn't know how to name. "I asked you to leave my brother alone," she said quietly. "Next time I won't be gentle." Then she took Jacob's hand and walked away. By morning, the entire town knew. Phones buzzed with shaky videos. Teachers whispered in the lounge. Parents argued at the gas station. The principal called an emergency assembly about violent behavior. But no one could quite meet Anna's eyes when she walked in. Ethan's father, a loud man who owned the feed store, threatened lawsuits, until someone anonymously emailed him Anna's unredacted service record. He went very quiet after that. The bullying stopped, not just for Anna and Jacob, for everyone. Something about seeing the star quarterback folded up like a cheap lawn chair by the quiet girl in braids had rewritten the food chain. Anna never bragged. She went back to feeding chickens at dawn, to helping Jacob with math homework, to saying yes ma'am and no sir, and to moving through the halls like a ghost. But sometimes when a younger kid was getting picked on in the cafeteria, a shadow would fall over the table. Anna would appear, no words, just her presence, and the bullies would find somewhere else to be. People started calling her the shepherd behind her back, not because she sought the name, but because that's what she did. She watched over the flock no one else bothered to protect. Years later, long after she'd left Willow Creek High, travelers passing through would still ask about the legend of the quiet farm girl who took down 3 linebackers without breaking a sweat. Old-timers at the diner would smile into their coffee and say the same thing every time. She wasn't just a farm girl. She was peace that had learned how to fight. And peace, when it finally has to stand up, well, even thunder knows when to step aside. If this story reached you, if it reminded you that the gentlest souls sometimes carry the heaviest armor, that choosing kindness is not the same as weakness, that the people who speak the least often feel the most, then carry it forward. Tell someone who needs to hear it that their silence is not surrender, that their scars do not make them small, that one day, when someone they love cries out their name, they will find the strength they never knew they had, because courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it simply puts on mud-stained boots, braids its hair, and steps between the darkness and the ones it loves, and the world, whether it understands or not, becomes a little safer for it. Thank you for walking this road with Anna. Stay gentle, stay brave, stay always kind.